everyone, this is Nadia, award-winning author, award-winning mentor, CLAIRSENTIENT psychic, and founder at Spartanite. And today we're going to be covering a channel from the Goetic spirit, King CLAUNECK, as most of you have found Spartanite through CLAUNECK. And also, those of you who work with him know that his counsel and his advice is practically invaluable to our human lives. So, I had a situation with a client that actually approached me, and we were working on a project together, and he was talking about decision making, and that's actually where this entire topic and this entire video I was inspired to create it today. So I want to cover what CLAUNECK's thoughts are of CLAUNECK and why indecision is also a decision. Okay, I kind of want to do a drum roll type of thing, because this is one of the best topics that I have always spoken about, and I have no idea why I didn't cover a video till now, basically. Okay, so I see so many people who want to live the life that they think they want to, and I really want to cover so much in this video, again, how much my video footage permits me in time and yada 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 type of thing. Lots of people say that I want this, I want that, I want this, and we kind of run out with fingers and little sections on your hands, and then you start counting on your toes, and then you start counting the strands on your hair and your eyelashes. Maybe that's just me that does that, but okay, it doesn't matter. The main thing with decision making is a surety and knowing that a bad decision is better than no decision. There are lots of business circles that I have maybe gone and sat at tables, and people speak from a place of, I like it, but I don't think it's right. It's a place of compassion. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with compassion. It's more like, well, you have chosen the best for what you knew at that time. Well, you know what? When I was so much younger, sure, I knew what I chose was the best for what I knew, but it was still a shitty decision. It was still a wrong decision. It was still a bad decision, and I could have taken a better decision than that. So lots of people like to say that because they don't want to hold themselves accountable, and they don't want to hold themselves responsible for their actions. Indecision comes from fear. Now, when I've spoken with CLAUNECK and I feel hesitation on a decision, he usually asks me, is this coming from a place of you don't like the person, you don't trust the person, or is it from fear? And usually 9.5 or maybe 11 times out of 10, it's often to do with fear. It's the fear of, will it work, won't it work, should I do it, should I not do it? And the funny thing with indecision is that you've made a decision. Your indecisiveness holds you back from the life that you should be living. The CLAUNECK has said this to me so many times, that if you want something, you have to decide on what it is, and then you have to find the price that you need to pay for it. Lots of people cringe at that second statement that I'm making, that you need to pay the price for what it is. This life that we have as humans, nothing comes without sacrifice, nothing comes without persistence, and nothing comes without hard work. Nothing comes without hard work, sorry. As I usually say in my videos, my mind usually wants to run faster than my mouth, and the beings that I work with like each all having their turn to speak their words, so they get their turn as well. So if there's something in your life that you're currently struggling with when it comes to a decision, the answer is always no. It's very clean and simple. And when I started to work with the Goetic Legions, I still remember they always say to me, Nadia, if you are not confident in a decision, it's a no. It's because it doesn't feel right to you, it doesn't sit right to you. There are things that within a matter of seconds to myself, because I've trained myself so much through CLAUNECK with value, I can look at something and think this is nonsensical. People can see the value in something nonsensical, whereas I don't see it because there is no value. So that's how people trick themselves. When people are especially making financial decisions, or if they're large investments, and large is subjective, £1,000 might be so much for someone. £1,000 might be like buying a drink for somebody else. So everything, I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend that I know people's socioeconomic statuses, what they can afford easily, what they can't afford. That's none of my judgment and my business anyway. But when you are struggling to make a decision, it's simply because there's fear in the process. Now, I understand that sometimes, even myself, we all have fear. We all have different things that well, what if? Maybe we got stung in a bad business deal, or we got stung in a relationship, or somebody left us halfway. It's normal to have that fear. It's actually healthy. But what happens is that people start out, they start out with good intentions. There's that old saying that I love, and CLAUNECK has often reminded me of that saying. It's the road to hell is paved with good intentions. A lot of people in this world have good intentions. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I know everybody's intentions or what they think or what they don't think. But what I've traditionally come to find is that there are only few people who want to put those intentions actually into practicality. It's very easy to go ask the price of a car and pretend like you can afford it or buy it or go in there, and then end up looking stupid when they give you a contract, they give you something, and it's like, yeah, okay, we're ready. What's the hold up? So what I usually say to people is that when it comes to decision making, if you don't have the allocated funds, if you don't have whatever it is, just spare yourself the embarrassment and the shame. And I remember going to a museum, and there was like this really old school stuff that said, don't ask us for credit because we don't want to embarrass you by saying no. It was quite funny, but I saw the relevance in it. Now, decision making is not always about finances. There are a lot of guys who, let me speak directly to both genders here. There are a lot of women that come to me and say that men are afraid of commitment. No, they're not. You're just not what he wants. Period. If a man knows you are the right woman for him, he's gonna beat you to the punch with a wedding ring. It doesn't matter how many jobs he has to work, what he has to sell in his business, he'll come for you. If you don't see a man step up towards you, then he's not your man. Please let him go. And I feel like I really need to throw that in this video, because there's so many women that I used to work this job, and one of my sections was advising on love and relationships, and I used to get the same boring fucking questions all the time. Does he love me? Does he miss me? Does he think about me? The answer is no. Okay, so if a guy is doing that, he's gonna blow up your phone, he's gonna call you, he's gonna try and make dinner dates, take you out. If a man hasn't asked you out, he's not interested, or he's not emotionally available. Please just stop chasing. And vice versa. If a woman keeps like putting you off, I'm saying this to the men now, she's not interested. And it's indecision is a decision. Take people's no for what it is and move on, because somebody may not be ready. We may have other things going on in our life. Like I've said, you may not be emotionally available. And decision making, a lot of people would come and think that it's just financial. There are lots of people that I see who tiptoe and dance around situations. They kind of want to sort of, oh, I'll come back to it. That's okay. It may not be a priority for you. But when we dig deeper in those people's lives, not much is a priority for them. They don't have the, aim, target, fire type of mentality, because it's too frightening for them. Because with that, they'd actually have to let go of their bullshit. They'd have to let go of their stupid excuses that they give themselves every day of, it's cold, I don't want to go for a run, or I don't have enough money. Because I love how people say I don't have enough money for anything, because it's not a priority. And I had to check myself. CLAUNECK taught me to check myself all the time. Every time I felt or I heard myself saying that, CLAUNECK was like, no, just tell yourself the truth and tell yourself it's not a priority at the moment, instead of saying you can't afford it because you don't want to sound like somebody that hasn't, worked out what they truly want. Now, lots of people are indecisive because they're waiting for other people to make decisions for them. This is how, I'm going to risk myself saying this here, this is how people end up abused. I know this very well with experience. I've been there, I've done it, I've got the t-shirt literally for it. One of the most important things that I asked CLAUNECK one day about indecision was the topic of abuse, and I was just so amazed. Now I'm not talking about childhood abuse, because when you're a child you truly don't know right from wrong, and that's normal. I think when we get older and we haven't dealt with those wounds inside, it's very easy to let somebody else control your life, someone else dictate you, tell you what to do, because, God forbid you actually have to step up and make a decision for yourself. That is the very reason employment's easier than entrepreneurship. Somebody else is making your decisions, somebody else gets to choose how much you want, somebody else chooses how many holidays you take a year, a month, I don't know, a week, whatever you want to call it. Somebody else makes those decisions for you. It absolves you of making those decisions, because entrepreneurship is all about the manifestation of the highest manifestation of the left-hand path, which means you make your own rules, your own decisions. And lots of people are afraid to make those rules and decisions because, get this, They want someone to blame. Now, there is somebody I know personally who she wants to open her own business, and I really do wish her well for it. I know her very well. I know her personally in my area, so it's not anything Spartanite related. And I went through the motions with her, trying to give her all the like what license she needs and what she doesn't, based on my previous business. I used to be a day spa owner, a salon owner, basically. And she just said something to me that made, it was kind of like nails on a chalkboard, that I just wanted to slap her when she said it. And she said, oh, you know what, I just tell God to like do everything for me, and if things don't work out, I have someone to blame. Stop it, stop doing this. Don't blame God. His hands are too busy with everything. Blame yourself. If there's a failure, blame yourself. If there's anything, take your own responsibility, because what ends up happening with decisions, if you can fully own that decision, irrespective of whether you knew the truth about it or not, and say, I did what I did with the information that I knew, that way you have a chance to grow in front. And CLAUNECK and All Gods are huge on taking responsibility. Indecision is waiting for someone to make that decision for you, and most people don't have a lot in mind when it comes to your life. You'll scraps for other people. I say this openly. Most people don't like the truth. They like lies. They enjoy a buffet of lies because their whole life is a lie. So when it comes to indecision, you have to ask yourself, where is this indecision coming from? What is it telling me? And what's happening? What do I need to understand about it? Is it that I'm indecisive about the situation because I need more information about this? Do I need to understand how I can pay properly? Most people, and I really covered this in one of my Spartanite topics that you guys can find on this channel, is about a weak mind versus a weak wallet. People don't have weak wallets. What they do is they have weak minds. Most people in today's age have a very, very malleable, squishy, and weak mind. They see value in all the wrong things, whereas if you truly sit them down, you look at their expenditure, you look at everything, because God forbid that's too much accountability for someone. They just want to hide and buy all the wrong things, eat the wrong things, hang around the wrong people, and wonder why their life's going nowhere. I'm trying to be quite diplomatic about it. CLAUNECK is not diplomatic. CLAUNECK just simply does not care. He will just tell you, look, these are all the failure decisions you've made. This is all the bullshit you have. These are all the excuses you give yourself and other people. You're not fooling us. So come back to us when you're good and ready, and when you're done making excuses for your own life. Because most people love making excuses, and that's the root cause of indecision. They're unwilling. If they look at something outside their budget, that's the best explanation CLAUNECK is saying in my head at present, that it's more to do with, it's not I can't afford it. And Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad always says this, and CLAUNECK is like 100 million times behind that. It's not I can't afford it, it's how can I afford it? Because how opens those mental warehouses, those psychic warehouses, those faculties. We ask ourselves, if this is this, do you have payment plans? Can I do this? Can I do that? Because you're willing to stand up and take what is rightfully yours. Most people are just waiting for people to give them money, power, beauty, sex, love. They're waiting for something, I don't know, some manna to fall out of the heavens and say, oh, look, wow, look at me, look how great I am, and I got this. Life does not work that way. You have to be decisive about what you truly want. And if you don't know what you want with your life, that's also okay. Just work towards what you want. There's no pressure that today anybody watching this, and there's no attack coming from me or King CLAUNECK himself, that you need to know everything about your life in one go, because that's a bit frightening as well. That's someone that's too rigid, and you need flexibility, you need spontaneity to be able to welcome serendipity and to welcome unexpected blessings and gifts. You need to have a life plan and then allow it to be flexible. Things come, go. That's normal. But if you truly don't know where you're going, I remember knowing someone years ago who was driving, and I called him. I was just calling to catch up with him, and I was like, hey, where are you? Oh, I'm driving the motorway. Cool, where are you going? I don't know. Please stop doing that, because that's just embarrassing. You're wasting someone's time. You're wasting your own time. You're wasting petrol in the car. You're just wasting everything, and it's just a waste. And people who are indecisive are usually taken advantage of people who are decisive. My dad, very many years ago, when I was very young, had a saying, and it took me a long time to really actualize that saying. I thought it was really harsh when he said it. But really, living in life, and talking with CLAUNECK and speaking my dad in spirit as well, he used to say, people who can't manage their money work for people who can. And I used to say, wow, that's, I kind of thought, damn, that's really harsh, rude, and compassionless. And he said, no, it's not. You'll come to find it with time. Now, managing, I've spoken about this many times, managing your emotions is what manages your money. And when you have indecision, when your mind is not clear, when you don't have a goal you want to achieve in mind, any path will take you there. Working with the old gods is not for the faint-hearted. Working with the beings and spirits who will call you out on your bullshit, they will call you out with all the excuses you make, with everything that you want to hide. It's not that they're compassionless or merciless or they're mean or anything. They're just very honest and they hold you accountable. And people in today's age have become soft. They don't want anyone to hold them accountable. Great people want someone to hold them accountable. Great people have mentors. I have a few. And I am very grateful to those individuals. And my mentors have changed over the years. They could be somebody that I let go for 2 years and then I came back to them for the next 5. It's that type of thing. But great people are always looking for greatness on a consistent basis. They want to improve. They want to be challenged. They want, okay, well, can you give me feedback? Because I'm human and I don't always do all the right things. I'm not expecting myself to do the right things. But what is it you feel I can improve? What do you feel that I'm not doing right, that I need to be doing right? As opposed to you point something out to someone and they get offended because those people have ego issues. There's lots of times I've held my tongue with people. I've been to their events. I have socialized with people, and I could really have just pointed out what they could have improved on, but they wouldn't have taken it as constructive feedback. They would have probably told me to fuck off and probably say, well, it's none of your business, which is why I don't give unsolicited advice. I only give advice when people pay me for the advice. I don't give free advice. So a lot of people come and ask me questions, and if you truly want concrete advice, you pay. Like if I want advice from someone, I go and I pay for it, because that way I've put my money down and I know that I will respect what that person has to say, because there's skin in the game. So just remember, the root cause of indecision is fear. Address your fear. Ask yourself what you're truly fearing. What's at the other side? What is it you don't want to let go of? What are you comfortable with all the time? And then work on those limiting beliefs, because all beliefs are limiting to a degree, but some are worse than others. And give yourself permission, give yourself lots of room, lots of compassion, lots of empathy, and say, well, I want to change, and maybe this is the way that I was holding myself back. Cool. If I can deal with this and I can look at myself with honesty, number one, and humility, number two, are the two main tenets that CLAUNECK always teaches myself and anybody that wants to watch these videos, anybody that loves CLAUNECK's teachings, or anybody that does work with CLAUNECK himself. When you deal with honesty and when you deal with humility, you will typically come to find your life is quite simple, because you don't bullshit yourself. You don't pretend to be something you're not. Because most people in this world are delusional. They pretend to be something they're not. You look at what they call themselves and you look at their lifestyle, or you look at what they're doing and what they're not doing. It's sort of like a man who thinks he's a very strong and, he's like Hercules because, well, he's got the tattoos in his arms and he's 6'4" and he's strong and he hits the gym every day. Well, if he's not Hercules on the inside, if he runs away from his own problems, if you find that this man cannot stand up with courage and tell people to fuck off and say no and put them in their place, I don't mean this to be rude. The nicest and sweetest and smartest people need to use the word no and need to use the word fuck off more often, because otherwise people just drain you and then you wonder why you end up sick and ill. So if this man is not strong on the inside, he has not built his steel slack core, then no, he's not someone that's got courage, and he needs to work on the fear. He needs to, start to say no more to people. Because when you start to say no more to people, you say yes to yourself, and you say yes to the right people who should and deserve a place in your life. With that said, if you have any questions, I would love to hear them in the comment box below. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, share this on all of your social media. And again, like I said, any questions, hit me up. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and I hope you have a good day. Bye.